Okay, so today this video is going to explain a bit about speciation. Now, the thing with speciation is we really can't talk about that without talking also about natural selection. Okay, so keep that in the back of your head. So again, like natural selection, speciation, evolution, we need variation. Okay, so my fictional example here are blue jeans. Right, get it, blue jeans like which you wear. Anyway, um, so the genes are just these. It's this shape and so forth. The alleles are the different colors, shapes, designs that they can kind of come in, right? So different colors, types of belts, like a white belt versus a black, stripes, that sort of thing. Okay? Now, alleles exist because of these three things. Meiosis, which we'll talk about, but is basically swapping pieces of those genes around as sex cells are produced. Mutation, which is just random changes in the DNA sequence. And so, for example, green genes can go to pink genes. And then sexual reproduction, right? So, you have roughly, women have approximately 250,000 eggs. Males have millions of sperm released. It's only one egg and one sperm, right? So that's another source of variation. The different, and each of these are going to be different due to meiosis. So lots of variation. Once you have variation, speciation can occur quite easily. Remember, a species is a group, a population of organisms that can reproduce to produce and produce fertile offspring. So those offspring can further reproduce. But they don't reproduce with the original population. Okay, so how do we go from kind of one population, right, into different species of populations? So maybe these genes, in a sense, evolve into shorts, or they evolve into a dress, or something like that. I mean, that's kind of what we're thinking about speciation if we're going to stick with our blue jeans example. So, so the first thing here is we're looking at the having variation, okay? And then something has to happen which kind of causes some kind of isolation, right? Limits the gene flow. So this could be the more common allopatric speciation. So this is a mountain, right? A physical barrier that blocks that. So you can imagine, this particular group here, some mountain range forms or a river or something like that. And, these two are shouting across the mountain saying, hello, hello. Allopatric speciation, that's how I remember. So then what's going to happen is natural selection is going to work in different ways with these organisms. Okay? So here, there might be different selection pressures than here, that sort of thing. So you're limiting gene flow, right? You're limiting the alleles that can move past here. Notice over here, you don't have the orange allele. So that allele is no longer in this population, so you're not going to see orange genes. Okay? So that's what we kind of mean by isolation. The other one can be sympatric. So right here, it might be in the same group, but, say these genes only fit really small kids. So adults can't wear them, things like that. So then you're pushing for these will be because of these will be smaller genes. They'll look smaller. And then that means that they're only reproducing with smaller genes. So you get, again, some isolation there. You could also have temporal, so time here. So maybe, these reproduce earlier, these don't, right? So these are genes you can only wear in the summer because they're cool. These are too hot in the summer, so you only wear them in the winter. You can imagine how that would be differences there. Okay? So all of those, that isolation causes, this is where natural selection comes in, is there's different selection pressures. So over time, the allele frequency changes, right? So here's these genes asking, why do our kids always have stripes this way and black belts? It's because they're geographically isolated, right? Those become more common. And over enough time, millions of years, hundreds of thousands of years, those two groups, those gene pools, those organisms that have been separated, right? So these and these are so different that reproduction is no longer possible, right? So this one looks and goes, ooh, orange belt, orange, a white belt, ugh, go away. There's no attraction there. There's no reproductive success. So the gene pools are isolated now, and then we could say that these would be a new species, okay? So kind of the key thing with speciation is whatever isolation you're talking about here, it results in reproductive isolation, okay? So reproductively, those two groups can't reproduce. One, there's a physical barrier. There's some kind of behavioral difference, like with Sympatric, or there's some kind of temporal that they're reproducing at different times. Anything like that leads to this notion, okay?